I'm not completely 100% satisfied, and a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of controversy. I spent almost $500 for Waterbomb in LA, and let me tell you why I did that and how I feel about all the controversy and what everybody's talking about. So let's get into it. To start off, a little bit of backstory. I knew as soon as this tour was announced, I was like, I'm gonna go. The only thing that can stop me from going is a bad lineup, and that didn't happen. When they dropped the first people, no shade to any fandom, but I was disappointed because they were K-pop. I wanted K-hip-hop because that's what Waterbomb is about. I don't have a problem with K-pop being there, but it started off as K-hip-hop, K-R&B, and pretty much all the other genres. Then later that night, they released more people. One of the people they announced was Gray. Gray is not that easy to see live. He probably makes most of his money off of being a producer. So he just doesn't perform live that much, even if you go to Korea. You usually see him on the AOMG tours or at festivals. And I've been seeing him at all the other Waterbomb dates. So I was like, I have a good feeling he's gonna be at Waterbomb, and he was. So I'm happy about that. The next person I wanted to see was Ash Island. I've already seen Ash Island in Korea before I even was a fan of him. I really like him now, so of course I want to go see him again. Big Naughty. I'm actually not a huge fan of Big Naughty, but I know he's very popular in K-hip-hop, and I know he's just going to put on a good performance, so I wanted to go see him too, just for the experience. Another reason why I wanted to go to this Waterbomb is because Waterbomb was my favorite festival when I was in Korea. I've actually only gone to two, Buzzerbeat and Waterbomb. To me, Waterbomb is superior. I'll get into more reasons for that later. Overall, I just want to go do something fun, have a good time. And so this gives me the opportunity. I want to go to a concert. As K-hip-hop fans, we don't get that many concerts. K-pop fans get fed, so y'all are lucky. Despite all that, I'm not completely 100% satisfied, and a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of controversy if you look in the Instagram comments, even on TikTok. And so let me tell you some things that I agree with for why I'm not completely satisfied. The main thing that people are bothered about seems to be the seating. They didn't expect it to be seating. We expected the whole thing to be GA because that's usually how Waterbomb is run. And that's how, from when I look at the things that are going on at the other country dates, whoever gets up to the front first is whoever gets up to the front first. When I went to Waterbomb Seoul back in 2019, I got my ticket for around $90. And it was a tiered thing. I got mine on the third tier, which I think there was 4 tiers. So mine was one of the most expensive tickets you could buy, and it was still only $90. So we'll get into pricing next, but I want to come back to seating. How the Waterbomb setup usually is the GA concert section in one place. Then way at the back, across from the concert section, you have like a Sprite stage where they're doing things there, all types of events and activities. And there's just like so much space to run around and have water fights, all of that. When I went, there was also like a big old pool, above ground pool that people were kicking it in. There was like a tent. I think that was like a VVIP area or something. Next to the little Sprite thing over here, you have all this other stuff, which is like food, lockers where you can put your clothes in. You purchase them and then you put your clothes in and all of that. No matter where you are on the grounds, you can still have a clear view of the concert and you can still hear it as well. With this seating, it looks like obviously everybody, you either had to buy seating and stay in seating or buy floor and stay on the floor. That's already different. Also, the way the seating chart is set up, it almost looks like nothing's gonna be in the back. So you're gonna have to go to a different area of the Dignity Health Sports Park to actually engage in the Waterbomb activities. I'm gonna show you guys the shot of what this venue looks like so you guys can see what I'm talking about. If you guys see that little circular place, that's a tennis court, and it looks really small compared to the rest of the venue. I don't know if that's even enough room to have all the running around and Waterbomb activities. I have some theories, but I'll talk about that in the next part. So now I'm just gonna move on to pricing. The pricing is very expensive. This can go both ways. So on one hand, I knew it was gonna be expensive because it's LA. One thing I noticed about people outside of LA County and even outside of California, they can't comprehend how expensive everything is out here. It's ridiculously overpriced. Everything you buy, just have that in your mind. If I'm coming to LA, anywhere in LA County, but especially if it's close enough to LA, main city LA like Carson is, it's gonna be exorbitant, it's gonna be overpriced. I already expected that regardless, I was gonna have to pay $200 to $300 to get into this festival, and that was probably only gonna be for one day. Obviously, it still ended up being more expensive than that. My major gripe is that, like, including the fees and the taxes and everything, I thought it was only gonna be $200 to $300, right? And I thought it was gonna be GA. And I also thought there was gonna be a pricing tier. right? Why didn't we get a pricing tier? That's another thing. I don't see anybody bringing that up. Early bird, tier 1, tier 2, and then like the final tier or tier 3 and final tier. And it just increases exponentially because even other festivals in the US do that. So I don't know what that was about. That's one thing I'm disappointed in as well. I can't harp too much on price because I bought VIP tickets, so obviously I knew that we're gonna be super overpriced, but I just thought we were gonna have more than just access to the section right up front. I thought it was gonna be like a VIP tent. Maybe we have special early entry, special restaurants that we can, or food vendors we can go to, things like that. Maybe a wristband, something to justify us being VIP other than just being upfront. But it is what it is. On to the next thing. One of my biggest fears is that they're gonna pad out the time. It's where they like shoot off all the high-powered guns, and it's just like you can get in the water fight and nobody's really performing on stage, even though everybody might be in the crowd. I'm hoping that they don't fill it with too much water bomb time in between the sets, because we actually have a really thin lineup. On Saturday we have 10 people, and then on Sunday we have 11. Usually the dates have like 13 or more. So I'm kind of like, I don't know what's gonna happen. If you guys gonna pad it out, or like, what are we gonna do? I'm hoping that they'll just give longer sets because there's less people. I guess we'll have to see. See, I kind of have most of the same negative opinions as everybody else has, but I also have some positives about why I want to go. This is actually a pretty solid lineup. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm talking about the K-hip-hop side predominantly. Simon and Loco on Saturday. Then on Sunday, there's gonna be Gray, Jesse, PH1, Jay Park, who's probably gonna be the headliner and the closer, Ash Island, and Big Naughty. So it seems like Saturday is more geared towards K-pop fans, and then Sunday is more geared towards K-hip-hop, even though there's a little bit mixed in between. I didn't tell you guys this, but I'm actually only going on Sunday because I wanted the more K-hip-hop. I like Simon D and I like Loco, but I'm not as big of a fan of them to spend that much money for both days, sorry. As I touched on the last part, because there's slightly less people, maybe we can have longer set times. So I think that's a good opportunity for them to make up for what they lost. Because one thing that I've seen people saying too is like they're only going to perform 3 or 4 songs, and it's like, well, we do technically have less than every other Waterbomb, so maybe we're going to get more substantial sets from certain artists, or maybe more substantial sets from all the artists, because it looks like every artist who's booked kind of does have a substantial amount of songs out. Another thing I actually want to applaud is that people aren't liking where the placement of the venue is, because it's not in LA, it's in Carson, which is a small city not too far away from what's actually considered Los Angeles. It's in Los Angeles County, obviously, but it's not Los Angeles the city. One thing I've noticed, our hotels are probably going to be slightly cheaper, not too much. They're going to be like $20 to $50 cheaper from what I'm seeing based on what I know about hotels in LA. And that's because Carson isn't as big a city. It's a little bit more low-key. So you should be a little bit cheaper on hotels. Potentially you should be cheaper on food if you're gonna buy things outside the festival and things like that. I initially was like, I wanted to be within LA, Los Angeles City, but I can kind of see why, because even though these tickets are expensive and we don't actually like the venue setup, everything in Carson should be just slightly cheaper. Like, it's really close to LA. It's not gonna be too crazy cheaper, but it will be a little bit cheaper, I think. Also, back to that thing I said at the beginning of the positive sections, it's split into mostly K-pop with a little bit K-hip-hop sprinkled in, and then mostly K-hip-hop with some K-pop sprinkled in. I think that was actually a good way to set it up. We are kind of 2 different crowds, so just like having K-pop, K-hip-hop, and mixing it all the way up, the K-hip-hop fans are gonna get bored at some sections, and then the K-pop fans are gonna get bored at some sections. But if you're both, then you're living for both, but unfortunately you're probably gonna have to buy both days. But I figured they thought that the crowd was going to be split down the middle between people who are more K-pop fans and people who are more K-hip-hop. Another thing in their defense is this is Waterbomb. It's not a regular festival. Regular festivals, it's all about the concert. Here, they're also into the actual water aspect. Like, there's probably no way you can avoid getting wet unless you just stay in the food section or something. Because the way they're going to be shooting those jets, they're more high powered than you think. People think that they're not going to get wet in the seats. I definitely think they are, because I could stand really far away when they were shooting those off at Waterbomb, way in the back by the Sprite tent and all that, and I was still getting like water raining down on me, like it was raining. Okay, so we can't even count that out yet. It might actually be a lot. But of course, like you guys said, that's probably like a little bit dangerous. Another thing is all of that water equipment, like they have electronics and water together. They probably had to get a different type of equipment to do this and host this so that everybody's gonna get electrocuted and die. They're also coming all the way from Korea. Every artist on this tour is from Korea. I don't know too much about the DJs, so I can't say for them, but every other artist had to be flown out and put in a hotel. Whereas in other cities, they had people who were from that country that people from that country knew about and wanted to see. They had a local artist. We really don't. There's that as far as pricing. There's, again, back to the Waterbomb aspect, like it's more than just a concert. Like this water fight is actually a big aspect of it. So you're getting like 2 different events into one. And Waterbomb is just way more fun. Like if you were just standing for 8 hours straight, which is why I don't like Buzzer Beat Festival that much, even though it's like pure K-hip-hop almost, Waterbomb is still better because there's other stuff to do than just stand there for 8 hours straight and get tired. In general, I was a little bit disappointed with quite a few choices, but overall, I'm still gonna go, I'm still gonna have fun, and I still think it's gonna be a good time. So now, I do have like a little conspiracy though, so I think that they purposely sold only enough tickets to only fill up the floor so much. So I'm gonna put the seating chart back up so you guys can see it. I think that only about half of the floor is actually gonna be full. VIP is gonna be smaller. It's probably gonna be like, there's gonna be like a gate in the middle, and then right behind that there's gonna be GA floor. And they're probably gonna be way up closer to the stage than we realize, or at least I'm hoping that's what's gonna happen. And then behind GA floor, that's where there's gonna be like maybe the Sprite tent and some other food vendors and things going on back there. So it can kind of maintain that Waterbomb spirit of being able to see it, the show from anywhere in the venue. I think that might happen, and they might also have some other activities inside that little tennis thing that I talked about earlier. So if that happens, I think people will be less disappointed. And because a lot of people are saying they're not gonna buy tickets anyway anymore, like it's probably gonna be thin. I don't know if it's gonna be as bad as Camp LA, but if it is, then I mean, there's gonna be a lot of space to run around, so that's a positive. Last thing I really wanna say, I know I'm rambling. As much as people are talking crap on the internet, rightfully so, I'd add, as much as people are saying that, it does seem when you go look at the ticketing that a lot of the seating area has sold. When I looked at Saturday, some of the sections were completely sold out, or almost sold out. They had like one line or a few lines. A lot of those seatings look like they sold out. It might be scalpers, I can't say for sure because I don't have access to the data, but that's that. And then even on Sunday, I'm noticing that a lot of the sections look like they're about half sold out. 30 to 40% sold out, and then some of them are 50. And I think a lot more people than you guys expect are probably just gonna go because ATEEZ is going. They're super popular. They've been popular for years. And J Park. So I think people, they're saying they're not gonna go, but I think a lot more people are gonna cave. But I think people are gonna be more seated than they are on the floor because it's really expensive. This was a gift for me. That's why I spent all that money. I know that for the rest of the year, most K-hip-hop artists aren't gonna come back. Again, we're unlucky. We only get them like every 1 to 3 years, and getting all of these people at once, couldn't pass on that. So that's my views on Waterbomb LA. Obviously, this is how I feel before. Maybe I'll post my thoughts after as well. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this and you guys got to see where I'm coming from and my pros and cons. If you are gonna go, I hope this gave you some hope and you're not just like, oh, I spent all this money and now can't cancel the hotel, can't cancel the flight. So it is what it is, I have to go. Literally, as I was editing this video, getting ready to upload, Waterbomb came out with an official statement apologizing to the LA fans and explaining why things are going the way they're going. One of the things that they've done is drop the prices, but they've given us an explanation of why the prices were so high, and it's pretty much all the stuff I mentioned. One thing they did say is that they're prioritizing the event over profit. Yeah, it seems like they're probably gonna take a loss on this event, which means that it probably may not happen again unless they're a lot more organized. I can give them the grace because this is their first time doing this, and usually Yeah, this is a huge event for them to be doing all over the world in multiple countries, and then having to deal with all the stuff that comes with having a show in LA, and it's a water bomb. So I'm glad that they actually apologized this quick. This all came out on Monday, and here we are on Thursday, 1 hour after the end of the business day. I'm recording this at 6:25 p.m. We already have an apology. At least the prices are going down. It doesn't seem like you guys are getting rid of the seating. And it does appear that you guys have access to the floor as far as where the water bomb activities are going, but obviously not in the GA floor and the VIP floor. So that's the update. Everything I said still stands though. And it's really interesting how this came along. I wonder if there's going to be any more updates. One thing I didn't say in the initial video, one thing that they could add to justify the pricing could be like meet and greets or just some other benefit to buying the GA floor and VIP tickets to kind of separate it even more and make it worth the price. But since they're dropping the price, it seems like they said we're going to get a refund for the difference. I don't know. I think that's fair. They also alluded to maybe some of your favorite artists might be walking around. I will update you if there's any more updates. I don't know if I'm going to do a video, but I might comment on this video or just on my Tumblr. And that's all I have to say for now. See you guys next time. Bye.